guys, welcome back to my channel. I am back with another review. This review is for Baddies West, Season 3, Episode 13. So if you haven't already, please hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Listen, this episode was absolutely insane, so let's just get right into this review. Now, at the very beginning of this episode, Tommie has her sister with her, and Tommie is losing it on security at this point because when they arrived to the house in San Francisco, Tommie realized that her bags were left at the door, and so she starts flipping out. And listen, I can understand why she was upset. I wouldn't want my bags left at the door either, because if I had expensive things, I would not want them to get stolen. But I feel like Tommie handled this completely wrong. She starts trying to fight security. She's yelling in their faces, and then she tries to get upstairs to where Natalie was along with her sister, and security would not let her upstairs. Now, I wouldn't have let her upstairs either if I was security, because Natalie was probably going to get jumped. Let's be real. If you're with your sister and your sister's having a problem with somebody, a lot of the times people will jump in. And so I feel like it was for the best that they did not allow Tommie to go upstairs. But then she gets so pissed off that she wasn't allowed to go upstairs to where Natalie was that she tries to swing on one of the cameramen. Like, she was doing way too much to the point where they had to get her out of the house. Like, I just felt like she exaggerated that whole thing. I don't think that it was as big of a deal as she tried to make it out to be. Now, despite all the drama that went down earlier in the day between Tommie, her sister, and security, Natalie decided that she was going to gather all the ladies together in one room so they can have a quick conversation before they head out to the club for their next hosting. And this is where Natalie lets the ladies know that Chrisean will actually be joining them at the club and that she is absolutely going to perform. And honestly, I wasn't surprised at the fact that Chrisean decided to come to the club and perform, because at the end of the day, she wants to make money. I just knew she wasn't going to come back to the house because she doesn't really want to be a part of the show like that. Now, during this conversation, Natalie ends up telling the ladies that Tommie left the house because she was upset about her bags being left at the door, and so now Natalie has no idea if Tommie's going to show up to the club or not. Now, during this conversation, Natalie does end up mentioning that they're in Stunna Girl City, and so she wants everybody to hype Stunna Girl up at the club. And one of the ladies suggests that maybe that's the reason why Tommie doesn't want to go to the club, is because they're in Stunna Girl City. Now, this pisses off Biggie, and she ends up jumping into the conversation, saying how nobody cares about Stunna Girl and nobody cares if this is her city, and that they're going to go to the club because ain't nobody scared. And so this pisses off the other ladies in the group because they feel like she's always coming at Stunna Girl all the time. And in this particular situation, I agree with Kat, because Kat did come for Biggie and say, listen, Stunna Girl hasn't said anything the entire conversation. Natalie was talking, so why are you going after Stunna Girl for no reason when she's just sitting here quiet? Biggie can say that she's not pressed by Stunna Girl all she wants to, but her actions prove otherwise, because every time Stunna Girl's name is mentioned or Stunna Girl is in the same room as her, she always has something to say. Like, why are you giving Stunna Girl so much energy and attention? At the end of the day, you're helping make Stunna Girl the star of this season. Like, her followers are going up and everything. Like, she literally is the star of this season because basically every single episode has been about her. Now, Rolly ended up calling out Biggie in this episode as well because she feels like Biggie is being a follower and a lapdog for Tommie, and I see that too. Like, I agree with everything that Rolly said to Biggie, even though I was surprised that Rolly ended up calling her out, because Rolly was actually one of the people who Biggie tried to cling to this season, and so I was surprised that she called her out, but I was glad that she did because she was right about what she said. She also told Biggie that, you know, Tommie's not your friend, you just met her. You're going to bat for somebody who's not even really your friend. Like, you just met her. They don't film the way Bad Girls Club filmed. They filmed for 3 months for Bad Girls Club. They only filmed for like 2 weeks for this show. So it's like Tommie wasn't really at the house that much anyway. So I just feel like Biggie really wanted to be cool with Tommie, and so she did whatever she could to try to get on Tommie's good side. That's just what I see. That's just my opinion. Now, the ladies finally head to the Baddies bus so that they can go to their next club hosting, and this time they let Stunna Girl ride with the rest of the girls, and they put Biggie in the front of the bus when usually it's the other way around. Now, while Biggie is in the front of the bus by herself, she ends up FaceTiming Tommie to let her know everything that went down at the meeting while she wasn't there. And basically, Biggie ended up telling Tommie that some of the ladies said that Tommie's not her real friend. And Tommie really didn't seem to care about this. If you watch the episode, Tommie did an interview, and she basically said that Biggie was whining to her about how the ladies said that she wasn't really her friend. And basically, she told Biggie that she needs to believe them and that she doesn't want anything to do with her either. her. And so that just proves that Tommie doesn't care about Biggie's feelings. Biggie seemed to really be upset about that because I feel like she really genuinely wants to be friends with Tommie. But you shouldn't have came on this show to make friends, baby girl. You're not on this show to make friends. Like, you should have watched all the other seasons of Baddies, and you should have also watched Bad Girls Club before you decided to come on this show, because really there's not a lot of true friends on there. Like, people just got finished going at Scotty in the last 2 episodes because of that situation that went down between her and Natalie, and they've known each other a lot longer. And so nobody's going to be any different with you when it comes to you and Tommie's so-called friendship. Now, when the ladies finally arrive to the club, Tommie is already there and she's on stage and she has a bunch of people with her. And Stunna Girl tried to bring her cousin and her best friend on stage with her as well. And security would absolutely not let that happen. Now, I can understand why security did not let Stunna Girl's cousin and her friend come on stage, because they wanted to make sure that it was going to be safe. Because at the end of the day, Stunna Girl does have beef with Tommie and she has beef with Biggie. And so they didn't want any fight to break out. But they should have had the same rule for Tommie too. Tommie shouldn't have been allowed to have anybody on stage with her, but she did. She had a bunch of people with her when they arrived to the club, and there was this one guy that she had with her the entire time. And at one point, Stunna Girl felt really uncomfortable because Tommie whispered in the guy's ear and he kind of moved closer to where Stunna Girl was standing at on stage. And so at this point, Stunna Girl's having a bad feeling about all these people that Tommie has around her, and so she ends up leaving the club and going outside. And, you know, I just thought it was weird because at the end of the day, this is supposed to be Stunna Girl City. I thought she was going to perform, but that didn't end up happening. Now, Stunna Girl wasn't the only person who said that she felt uneasy about coming to the club this particular night. A lot of the other girls said that they had an uneasy feeling as well. And there were little fights breaking out at this club on and off throughout their performances. But then Krishan gets on stage to do her performance and she has Blueface with her and she starts singing her song, and all of a sudden a shoe comes flying by her face and it hits Blueface in the side of the head. And this pisses off Krishan. Like, I can tell that she's not completely focused on her performance, but I was happy at the fact that she finished the performance, but I probably wouldn't have, and I actually thought she wasn't gonna finish it. I thought she was going to drop that microphone, and I thought she was going to dive onto the crowd of people and she was going to start fighting whoever was in her way, because that's what it looked like she was about to do. Now, when she finished her performance, she got on the microphone and she starts asking who threw the shoe. Now, she never actually ended up finding out exactly who threw the shoe, so she took the microphone and she threw it really hard into the crowd, and I'm pretty sure somebody probably got hit with it. And once that happened, a bunch of fights started breaking out. Like, literally the whole club started fighting. Now, because of all the fights that were breaking out, some gas was let off in the club and you could barely see. There was smoke everywhere and everybody was trying to get out of the club as fast as they could. And listen, it was a hot mess. Like, Zeus really needs to do a better job with making sure that these ladies are protected when they come to these clubs, because it seems like every time they go to these clubs, there's some fights breaking out. There's people getting trampled over. Like, they really need to do better when it comes to security purposes, and they need to make sure that the clubs are safe. And I feel like that's probably why not every single episode of Bad Girls Club was at the club. They basically went to the club like once or twice out of the week. The ladies did, and they basically stayed in their VIP section, probably for safety purposes, because this episode was a hot-ass mess. Now, at this point, all the ladies are out of the club, but Tommie comes out the club on that guy's back, the same guy who Stunna Girl said was making her feel uncomfortable all night. And, you know, Stunna Girl is in the doorway of the club and she's getting jumped. Like, she's literally getting jumped. Her friend and her cousin are there trying to help her, but she is literally getting jumped by a bunch of people. And then at some point, Tommie ends up getting off the guy's back and Stunna Girl and Tommie end up fighting. It was only a few seconds, so we're going to have to wait until the next episode to see the rest of that fight. But I actually believe Stunna Girl. I feel like she was being set up that night. Tommie was acting really weird at the club. She showed up before all the other ladies, which she never does. And she had a bunch of people with her on stage. And then on top of that, you know, she was whispering to these people all throughout the night. And the guy that she was with all night was basically trying to keep an eye out for wherever Stunna Girl was. So I feel like she was set up. So those are my thoughts on this week's episode of Baddies West. Let me know what you guys thought about this episode down in the comment section. Don't forget to hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more videos and hit the notification bell so that you know every time I upload a new video. Thank you so much to everyone who has subscribed to my channel. I appreciate you all. And until next time, I will talk to you guys in my next video.